Addiction is a humanitarian crisis that affects millions of people all over the world. This chronic disorder is characterized by compulsive and relapsing uses of substances such as illegal drugs, opiates, marijuana, or alcohol. People with addictions lack willpower and mental strengths to overcome this problem. When we think about addiction as a social issue, it solely affects the life of the user and the people around them. Addiction can have a negative impact on family, friends, and relationships, in addition to lack of adult responsibilities such as finances, work, and school. The most permanent effect of addiction is death from accidental overdose. As a community, we want a solution for the individuals who suffer addiction. With the proper rehabilitation and treatment, an addict may be able to overcome this chronic issue. Studies have shown that if people spend more time in nature, it has a healing effect on the brain. Therefore, a community garden is extremely beneficial for a recovering addict. Spending time in a garden promotes mental focus, relaxation, and positive benefits emotionally, physically, and socially.
Substance abuse is an issue with serious health and societal consequences in Nevada and throughout the nation. Nevada is among the top 10 states for illicit drug use. Vicodin, oxycodone, Xanax, marijuana, heroin, and other drugs are frequently abused throughout the state. In 2016, drug overdoses were responsible for approximately 64,000 deaths in the United States, surpassing motor vehicle deaths by 60%. In 2016, Nevada's opiate death rate was 13.8 deaths per 100,000 people, compared to a national average of 10.4 deaths per 100,000 people. In 2016, Nevada also had one of the highest rates of opiate pain medication at 87.5 prescriptions per 100 state residents, compared to 66.5 prescriptions per 100 residents nationally. Compared to the rest of the United States, the youth of Nevada have had significantly higher rates overall in illicit drug use, marijuana use, and non-medical use of pain relievers. Additionally, Nevada's youth is in the worst tier for their cocaine use, illicit drug dependence or abuse, and needing but not receiving treatment for illicit drug use. According to the National Institute on Drug Abuse, 8.3% of 8th graders reported using illicit drugs in the last year, as did 18.3% of 10th graders and 23.7% of 12th graders. After marijuana, prescription and over-the-counter medications account for most of the top drugs abused by 12th graders in the past year, with the most commonly abused being Vicodin and Adderall. Drug addiction is a disease, and there are many factors that can contribute to getting that disease, including genetics, where you live, the school you attend, and who you surround yourself with. These same factors can help protect against the disease, which makes adolescence an extremely critical stage for substance abuse initiation, as well as for substance abuse prevention, intervention, and treatment. The added increase in societal and economic stress and diminished healthcare capacity brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic contributed to Nevada being one of the 28 states placed on red alert status for increased risk of death from overdoses from opiates and other drugs in December of 2020. In Nevada, officials have reported a 50% increase in opiate and fentanyl-involved overdose deaths from the first to the second quarter of 2020, with 98 occurring from January to March and 147 from April to June. Opiate-related deaths have been on the rise throughout the COVID-19 pandemic in Nevada after finally declining for the past few years. Nevada's population is growing, and much of the data available indicates that more resources and better outcomes are needed for prevention and treatment of substance misuse. The current system of care appears overly reliant on emergency rooms and criminal justice settings to identify and engage individuals with substance and mental health needs.
Mental illness and addiction are overly present in the United States and often go hand in hand. The National Institute of Mental Health explains that nearly 1 in 5 U.S. adults live with a mental illness, while the National Center for Drug Abuse statistics show that substance abuse disorders affect over 20 million Americans over the age of 12. These issues amongst our communities need to be addressed and treated in whatever manner seen fit by professionals. One form of treatment that has been known to help with mental health and addiction are community gardens. These gardens positively affect individuals with their mental health and provides therapy for people recovering from addictions. Why are gardens used to help with mental health and addiction recovery? Let us look at the many ways in which gardening can be used as a therapy for individuals suffering from mental health problems and undergoing addiction recovery. Gardening is a way of relaxing and helps to put a person's focus on recovery through healthy habits and relationship building. Healing from addiction can be a slow process and requires patience. The same is true with gardening. Plants don't grow overnight, and clients must be mindful and tend to them carefully, just as they must be diligent in their own personal care. This is expressed by Susie Shea, who is a co-owner of Chapters Capistrano. Gardening is a healthy activity to replace drug or alcohol use. People in recovery are often encouraged to take up one or two new hobbies to fill in extra time in beneficial ways. Gardening can become a distraction from cravings and negative thoughts, helping to prevent a relapse. New skills learned in creating a garden promote self-confidence and create an important sense of purpose. The settings for these gardens can be based in mental health facilities, training centers, correctional institutions, long-term care or assisted living communities, schools, and community gardens. Did you know that soil from gardening is a natural way to boost serotonin levels and help fight depression? Depression, mental health, and recovery are all linked. Breathing in the bacteria found in soil can aid in recovery and a happier mind. Gardening promoted benefits for addiction and mental health include building self-esteem, promoting purpose, aiding in physical activity, and helping with meditation and mindfulness in individuals. Gardening therapy and community gardens can help with new interactions through social circles. Individuals participating in garden therapy may become friends and build support from networks that help people in recovery to stay on track with their goals and treatment plans. Just as a group of people in AA focus on friendship and commitment to one another through sponsorship, community gardens help in these ways as well through socializing in new groups. Overall, community gardens are ideal when working with individuals suffering from mental health problems. This therapy is implemented in numerous rehab facilities all over the world and has shown great positive attributes and benefits to addiction recovery and helping with mental health.
How do community gardens benefit us? There are environmental, health, and community benefits of community gardens. The environmental benefits are city beautification, reduced food waste, and a positive impact on the climate due to the oxygen produced by the plants. Community gardens can also utilize empty lots and turn them into something beautiful for everyone to enjoy. The use of compost cuts down the amount of food wasted, and it cuts down on the amount of trash in our landfills. Community gardens also bring people together. It creates a safe place for neighbors and friends to come together. They provide an ample teaching opportunity for all people of all ages. They also provide children with the opportunity to ask questions and to learn about where their food comes from. It's proven that kids will eat what they grow because they are so proud of their work. Imagine spending a day bonding with your family while your hands are in the soil, and then later getting to make a delicious meal that came from your hard work and love. Living in a city could mean that a person might not have access to an area outside to grow a garden. Many people live in apartments or shared housing communities. This means that if people want to eat fresh produce, they will have to purchase it from a grocery store. And for those who can't afford fresh produce, they'll just have to go without it. Community gardens provide the opportunity for all people to have access to fresh produce. Community gardens promote living a healthy lifestyle that's accessible to all. The National Heart Association claims that working in your garden daily reduces stress levels, which can also reduce your blood pressure for a happy, healthy heart.
As you can all understand by now, mental health and addiction are very serious topics that deserve our attention. According to the Mental Health America organization, Nevada ranks 47th among the states with a high prevalence of mental illness and low access to mental health care. Nevada also ranks 51st on the youth ranking, which includes youth with at least one major depressive episode in the past year, youth with major depressive episode who did not receive mental health services, and youth with substance use of disorder, among others. Evidently, thousands of Nevadans do not have access to mental health care, or they receive subpar treatment if they do. Addiction and substance abuse stigmas continue to plague our society. Addiction and substance dependency is irregularly viewed as a choice rather than as a serious psychological and physiological disease. According to a recent article from KTNV, Nevada ranks 5th in the nation for the highest percentage of adults with gambling disorders and treatment. However, unfortunately, many people still cannot afford or have access to the help that they need. As mentioned earlier, a community garden can be substantially helpful to a community. A community garden can help address problems such as food insecurity, community divisiveness, and environmental issues, to name just a few. Such gardens can provide a staple source of food for those who are homeless or struggle with food insecurity. They can also help bring people together by creating a common goal, and they can teach people about self-sufficiency and gardening. In addition, a community garden can help people practice sustainability and save on transportation and food costs. Through this PSA, we hope to bring awareness to these issues and their importance in our society. We all need to advocate for better mental health care, end the stigma around addiction and substance abuse, and create more projects like a community garden which can help our communities. Let's start today.